Hello, everyone, from the backyard of the home office in Lower Burrell, Pennsylvania. We'd like to welcome you to the inaugural edition of Inside Burrell Football, presented by the Boucher Agency. I'm Mike Pavlik, and over football season, what we will be doing is we will have a show for you every week, kind of give you an update on what's going on with the Burrell football program this year, and more importantly, we'll be bringing you the games this year every Friday night starting at 7 o'clock. We want you to be right here on YouTube at BSD Athletics Livestream. You can watch every game, and we are proud and happy to do this. Mike Choma, of course, will join me. He'll join me next week on Inside Burrell Football. We're going to let you meet the coaches, a couple of episodes of that as we lead in to the first scrimmage of the year and we lead into the season. So please join us for those. Today what we want to do is we want to go through the schedule, kind of give you a little overview of all the opponents, a little overview of what the Bucs have coming back this year, and hopefully you will be entertained at least here for the next few minutes. Well, last year the Bucs went 2-8 under Sean Liotta, who resigned after the season. The move up to 3A wasn't exactly easy, and it's not going to be. People have been asking, did Burrell just get that much population that they had to move up? And the answer to that is no. What happened was the PIAA completely changed the way they number the students, how they count them. And during COVID, a lot more students stayed at home. They went remotely, they homeschooled, and they didn't count those as full numbers. Well, now that COVID has passed, they're back to counting every student as one student. These are the more real numbers. And Burrell moving up to 3A last year, it was a tough go for them. They went 2-8. After they had made the playoffs 3 consecutive years, they lost 8 seniors off the team coming back for this year. But we also have some new players coming on. We'll get a chance to meet those guys and talk about them later on as we move on through the season. So we mentioned Sean Liotta resigned. He's moved on to arena ball. But Dom Girardi has come in his stead. He will be the new head coach at Burrell this year. You remember him as a quarterback at Valley back in the late 90s, early 2000s. And also, Dom was the head coach at Highlands for 5 years, all the way up to 2021. 3 winning seasons with the Golden Rams, made the playoffs the last year. And he will be coming in here with a bunch of new coaches and a bunch of new systems and new ways of doing things. And it will be interesting to see how the boys are able to take to the new system and the new coaching of Burrell. Now, we mentioned a scrimmage. Our first broadcast is going to be on Saturday, August 16th, against the Leechburg Blue Devils at 10 a.m. That's a Saturday morning. That's the scrimmage. Breakfast with the Bucs, if you will. Leechburg at Burrell High School for that one. Leechburg went 8-3 a year ago in the Eastern A Conference. They finished third. They made the playoffs under head coach Randy Walters. They lost their first playoff game to Cornell, 34-20, but they've been a tough squad recently, and they will come into Burrell for that scrimmage. We will be with you again at 10 a.m. right here on BSD Athletics live stream for the game, the scrimmage against the Leechburg Blue Devils. And then we go for real the week after that on Friday, August 22nd, week 0, and it's not going to be easy, folks. The Avonworth Antelopes at Avonworth, 12-4 a year ago. They are the defending 3A WPIAL champions, made it all the way to the state championship game last year against Northwestern Lehigh before they fell. 12-4, as I said, their record. They beat Central Valley, a conference mate of theirs, 17-0 in the championship game, the WPIAL championship game. Duke John Corn, his 15th season, has made the playoffs at Avonworth in 13 of his previous 14 years. So they graduate 10, but they're still going to be tough. They played Burrell last year. That game had to be scheduled late by A.D. Brian Farah because what happened was Burrell was scheduled to play Springdale in their Week 0 contest last year in this, but Springdale ended up with numbers issues and field issues, so left the Bucs scrambling for a game early. Avonworth needed a game also. They came into Burrell last year and beat the Bucs 24-7, their first of 12 wins on the season. So the second game then, week 1, I'm going to stay away with the numbers because it's confusing. August 29th at Shadyside Academy against the Bulldogs, formerly the Indians, if you remember. They finished last in the 2A Allegheny Conference a year ago, did not make the playoffs. They had some upheaval during the season. Chuck DiNardo was the head coach. He resigned midway through the season, and Dave Schlahetka took over. Dave, of course, a Burrell grad, 1982, Burrell grad, something I'm familiar with. Dave was a great player at Burrell back in the day, let me tell you. He was tremendous, linebacker. So he'll still be on the staff along with former Burrell head coach Dave Bellinati. They will still be there. For new coach Andrew Geisler, who was a quarterback at Shadyside back in the day, and then went on to play at St. Vincent College. 42-7, Shadyside beat Burrell last year at Burrell again. Also, their other win was against Apollo Ridge. They only won 2 last year, and the Bucks will be heading. We're going to have a cup, okay? During the season, Mike and I are going to have a cup, and what we're going to do is every time we make that mistake, which I'm going to try not to make again, we're going to put $5 in the cup, and then after the season, we're going to go out and have a great dinner, and I got a feeling we'll be doing that. So, the Bucks against Shadyside on the 29th of August. So then we get to the home opener. Something you'll notice here is at the beginning of the season is all non-conference games, and then the conference games all come in a row after that. So I think that's kind of important because a lot of times it's difficult when you sprinkle in a non-conference game late in the season. The home opener, September 5th against the Vikings of Mount Pleasant, 5-6 a year ago. They finished third in the 3A Interstate Conference. Lost to Freeport in their only playoff game. Only 5 seniors graduate from the Vikings roster. Jason Fazekas in his 9th season, but he's been there a while. 23 straight years. He spent the previous 14 years to his 9 years as head coach, as an assistant there at Mount Pleasant. 6 straight playoffs for the Vikings. They've been excellent. They beat Burrell at Mount Pleasant last year, the Bucks' first road game a year ago, 23-13. Then we wrap up the non-conference schedule on September the 12th at Derry against the Trojans, 3-7 a year ago. They went 0-5 in that same interstate conference. They were 3-2, but then they lost their last 5 games as things kind of fell apart for them down the stretch. 9 seniors graduate off of that team. Mike Arone, the head coach, in his 3rd season. He spent 22 years as an assistant at his alma mater, Homer Center. Derry beat the Bucks at Burrell last year, 32-13. So that wraps up the non-conference portion of the schedule that we'll have for you right here on BSD Athletics Livestream. It gives us a chance, as every week, Inside Burrell Football will be brought to you by the Boucher Agency, and the Boucher name has been synonymous with serving the people of the AK Valley for over 70 years. They are uniquely qualified to help you choose home and auto insurance that protects what matters most, your family. The Bouchers are independent agents. That gives them the flexibility to work with all the leading companies in the industry to find new and interesting ways for you to save on home and auto insurance. Call your hometown independent agents today. John and Nick Boucher, 724-224-4300, and choose the coverage that's right for your family. And as always, their Natrona Heights office is open Saturdays for your convenience. Remember, in the AK Valley, you're in good hands with the Boucher Agency on your side. And also, our kickers are going to be in good hands with the Bouchers because John and Nick will be helping out on that. John Boucher will be on the staff this year. He had spent the last few years with Sam Albert at Kiski, and Nick was a tremendous kicker at Highlands back in the day, Lower Burrell resident now, and he will be helping out with the kickers, and I'm sure everything will work out great with those guys, either with your kickers or with your insurance. And that's what the Bouchers are here for. All right, let's get into conference play now. The Allegheny 7 Conference is where the Bucks reside in 3A now, and Freeport will be the first game, and it will be a home game at Buccaneer Stadium on the 19th of September. Freeport went 8-4 a year ago for 18th year coach John Gaylord, who was the dean of coaches in the Allegheny 7. He's been there a while. They won 6 out of 7 down the stretch, did the Yellow Jackets. They graduate only 5. This is, you may be noticing a trend here. They beat Mount Pleasant in the first game and then lost at Central Valley, who of course made it all the way to the championship against Avonworth. 6 out of the last 8 years Freeport has made the playoffs, and they handled Burrell pretty easily at Freeport a year ago, beating the Bucks 42-0. Then on the 26th of September, the Bucks will travel to East Allegheny. 1-9 a year ago, 6th in the Allegheny 7. Again, conference games here. Frank Cortazzo Jr., of course, his dad, Frank Cortazzo, was a great coach in the WPIL back in the day. This is Frank's 2nd season now. He used to be the coach at South Allegheny also. He's going to try to hit all the Alleghenies, apparently. Only win a year ago was against the Valley Vikings, and that's what kept them out of last place. And he replaced Don Pecora, who was his cousin. Family affair there at East Allegheny. The Bucks won that game a year ago at Buccaneer Stadium, 22-14. That's the first of the 2 Trey Corey's going to carry at every play games. 54 carries in that game against East Allegheny. When we get to the Valley game, you're going to have more carries for Trey. And that will be on October the 3rd. The big rivalry game against the Valley Vikings. The Vikings winless on the season last year, 0-10, and they come into this year losers of 15 straight. 7 seniors gone from Mark Adams' squad. Mark, of course, the former coach a Leechburg guy, former coach at Leechburg and Southmoreland. This will be his second season at the helm at Valley, replacing Dave Hebner. You will remember Dave Hebner is a former coach at Burrell. He was in between stints of Tom Henderson, one of only two men to coach Valley and Burrell. The other, we will have trivia this year, by the way. The other is Gene Collodi. Gene Collodi was the coach at Burrell preceding Tom Henderson, and he was the first ever coach at Valley. It's a question for you to take to your family reunions and things over the next few weeks. See if anybody will get those. Burrell won that game last year 15-6, and again, Trey Corey 53 carries in that game. 107 carries, 518 yards in the two Burrell wins for Trey. I don't think he's going to be carrying it that much this year. I think you're going to see a more diversified offense. Maybe the ball will be in the air a little more this year. Of course, quarterback from last year, Stevie Hassan, has graduated, so we'll see how that works out this year. Got a couple of guys vying for that job, and as we get closer, we'll let you know who's going to be playing there. Then on the 10th of October, more rivalry stuff. The Highlands Golden Rams come in to Buccaneer Stadium, 6-5 a year ago. They finished 4th in the Allegheny 7. Good time to tell you how the playoffs work. There are 3 conferences in AAA. The top 3 teams from each of those will make the playoffs. Then 3 more teams, wild cards, will be selected by the WPIAL committee. So what happened last year is the 4th place team in all 3 conferences were selected. Highlands was that team here in the Allegheny 7. We don't know if that's the way they're going to do it every year, but that's the way they did it last year, and we'll see how that goes as time moves on. Highlands, the wild card, their 4th straight trip to the playoffs. The first of those were under Coach Dom Girardi. This will be Matt Bonaslawski's 4th season as head coach there. But Matt's got a long history with Highlands football. He was the quarterback back in 2001, led them all the way to the semifinals this year where they fell to West Allegheny and Tyler Palco. And he was the athletic director for a while there in Highlands as well. So he's got the lay of the land there going. Of course, Bones will have him ready to go. Highlands beat Southmoreland their first playoff game, but then lost to Amani Christian. Second time they lost to those guys. They'll lose 11 seniors this year, including their quarterback, Minaj Lucas, their top 3 rushers, and their top wide receivers. So a lot of skill guys need to be replaced at Highlands this year. They beat the Bucks big time at Highlands last year at Golden Ram Stadium, 61-0. Minaj Lucas, as we mentioned earlier, 6 touchdowns in that game, 3 passing, 3 rushing. But the Bucks won't have to worry about him. The Rams are going to have to change up at the quarterback position this year. Then the 17th of October at Amani Christian, going to be a tough go. 11-1 last year, Allegheny 7 conference champions. They had a bye in the first round, beat Highlands in the second round, and then lost to the eventual champion Avonworth in the semifinals. They're coached by Leroy Johnson, who is a tremendous coach. His 4th season at Amani, he spent 4 years previously at Stowe Rocks, and in those 4 years, 2 of them, they went to the WPIAL finals. Only 5 seniors gone from this Amani team, and they will reload. One of the guys that is back will be Gabe Jenkins. He'll be a junior. He is not a handful. He is 2 hands full, and it's going to take more than one guy to do it. He was tremendous a year ago. He will be back, and he's going to be the main cog in that offense for Amani Christian. They beat Burrell last year 60-6. That game was at Buccaneer Stadium, the final home game of the season. So then we'll wrap it up. On the 24th of October, the regular season will wrap up. By the way, the playoffs start on Halloween. That should be spooky. Deer Lakes, 8-3, second in the Allegheny 7. Big year under Coach Tim Burke a year ago. They did lose their first round game to North Catholic. Their 3rd straight trip to the playoffs, but interestingly, only the 5th time they've ever made it. Tim Burke, 1997, the quarterback at Deer Lakes, was an excellent player there under Coach Tony Taliani. He's taken over the helm as the coach there. And more roots. His father-in-law is Larry Romas, who was also a previous coach at Deer Lakes. Lancers at Deer Lakes last year beat Burrell 56-0 as the Bucks really, as the weight of everything caught to them at the end of the season and they slid down the stretch. So that's the schedule. Once again, we'll be on every Friday night at 7 o'clock with the games, live streaming right here on BSD Athletics live stream on YouTube. So what we want you to do is subscribe and then click the notification bell. You click the notification bell anytime a program of ours comes up, you will be alerted to it and you can go to it, including Inside Burrell Football, presented by the Boucher Agency, which you will have here every Friday at 11 a.m. is when we're going to drop these. Friday at 11. So That way, you can watch during lunch, you can watch during dinner before you go out to the game. Players can watch at lunch. It'll be great. Perfect timing for everybody to make sure they get their preview of the upcoming week's game right here on Inside Burrell Football. The games, again, will be live streams on the same channel, 7 o'clock, Friday nights on YouTube. So, we want to thank you for joining us for this inaugural edition of Inside Burrell Football presented by the Boucher Agency. Next week, we're going to let you meet some of the coaches. We're going to do that in a two-part installment. You'll meet Coach Dom Girardi and his assistants and give you kind of the lay of the land on what's going on with the Burrell football program heading into their opening scrimmage against Leechburg and the first game against that toughie, the Avonworth Antelopes. And again, Mike Showman will join me next week, and we will be ready for that. So again, thanks for joining me for this edition of Inside Burrell Football presented by the Boucher Agency. And until next week, this is Mike Pavlik saying, so long, everybody.